Welcome back to Charles Koch Arena, the Chicken and Pickle post-game show. Star of the game presented by the Kansas Star Casino. And actually, we had intended to talk to Xavier Bell after the Grand Canyon game up in Kansas City, but with the way the post-game thing was set up, we couldn't get him out there in time. So an opportunity once again, and he came in and gave the Shockers 10 big points and tough defense in the second half in this comeback win over Tulsa. I wanted to ask you first, you have not been playing quite as much lately, didn't play in the first half. So what was kind of your mindset as far as once you got in there, what you wanted to try to get done? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me turn your mic up. That'll help.
Good. All right. Just staying ready. You know, you never know when your number's called. Coach tells us every day. You don't know whose number is going to be called day in and day out. So just showing up every day in practice, just doing what I can to just, prepare myself for these type of opportunities, and then just taking off and helping my team to help, win whenever I can.
And it really started out on the defensive end, and were you seeing some things as you're sitting there watching the game develop that gave you a sense of what you needed to do with the guys you were going to be guarding?
Definitely. Just staying locked in, just being mentally ready, so whenever my number was called, just kind of go in and help my team wherever I could. So
the knockout punch really on the transition baskets in the second half, everybody was off and running, you in particular. Describe how that felt and how you got into that in the second half.
It felt good, just getting out and running, kind of getting to the flow of the game, breaking a sweat a little bit. But for the most part, it was just good just to have my teammates out there with me and just so we can come together and just get this win. So,
this has been a tough season. You guys have had some close losses, and now two in a row. You've come back from big deficits in the second half, and how much has this maybe helped the team in terms of confidence and just maybe a different feel about things?
It's big, especially kind of going on this win streak now, just giving us a little bit more confidence, especially in league play. As we got a couple more tougher games coming up, just kind of building that team chemistry, just knowing that whenever rough moments happen, so like when we were down 16 at one point, just still coming together and knowing that we can dig ourselves out of any hole if we stay together. So
when the three-pointers aren't falling, and they didn't for Wichita State today, you've got to find other ways to win, and Wichita State did it with excellent defense in the second half and certainly capitalized on their free throw opportunities.
Huh?
Well,
definitely. Yeah, it was cool. We do shoot a lot of free throws in practice, and then on the defensive end, our coach always tells us every day, your offense is not always going to fall. It's not always going to be determined about that on the outcome of the game, but defense is. So he kind of just got on us, especially when we came out in the second half, and they kind of still were a little bit up double digits or so. He kind of called us in and then kind of got on us when we needed it, and just kind of called out everything when we needed it, and just making sure, keeping us locked in on the defensive end, so that way when we hunker down and play defense, we know that we can build the offense will come after that.
Something you mentioned earlier, being ready, and Coach talking about always be ready. You don't know when your number is going to be called. And there have been all kinds of different reasons lately with guys injured or guys just not having a good night. And you talked about your own mindset, but how much do you feel like with a whole bunch of new guys and new to each other that whole feeling has kind of gotten generated now within the team? Everybody be ready, be there, ready to go and practice every day, because you never know whose number is going to come up.
Definitely. I think it's been a long season so far, and we still have a lot more season to go. But like you said, with this being a new team, but at this time it's mid-January, almost late January now. In league play, so I think we've had enough time with each other to kind of know who plays like what, who plays like how. But just knowing each other each and every day, like you said, coming in each and every day to practice, showing up. So just knowing that and knowing the guys that are on the floor and the guys that are on the bench with us is huge. So
talk about the importance of balance also. Tulsa had only two players that scored in double figures, and Griffin had a very good game with 25, but Shockers had 5 players in double figures.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Team chemistry, I think, kind of just piggybacking off kind of the last question, or just saying how we've had so much time together, so that way just seeing how everyone plays, seeing how everyone scores, and kind of just feeding off each other like that. So just kind of creating different areas where, say, if someone would drive to the basket, and just kind of filling off that and just little stuff like that. So
Wichita State had lost some games, and then they go to South Florida. They get behind, but it seemed like you started turning the season around in the second half of that South Florida game. How do you keep that positive mindset through all of that?
Just really, I keep saying it, but just staying together as a team. We are going to have tougher moments down the stretch in league play, especially as we get closer to conference play or conference championship play and everything like that. But just just staying together, just like we keep huddling on the floor and everything whenever we're down by so much, just kind of making sure everyone's still on the same page as far as what defense we're in or running on offense, and just kind of taking each possession one stop at a time. So just getting a stop on defense, trying to get the best shot we can on offense.
You know, you made the decision to come back home from Drexel and playing in this arena, and it wasn't full today, but it was loud, and I'm sure this was one of those moments that you're really happy you're back here.
Definitely. It's always good to be back home. The crowd, the energy was crazy. I love it. Like I just told in the other interview, I would just say, you know, this is just one win though, so we just want to keep stacking and just keep pushing and just keep coming together as a team and just keep feeling that energy from the crowd. So
You had an outstanding high school career, and you were great at Drexel, and you're really good here as well. But did you go to a lot of Shocker games when you were a kid? I know your dad's a big sports fan, and so is your mother. Would they bring you out to a lot of ball games?
yeah, I did a little bit. I'd say I kind of started coming a little bit more like in high school when they started talking to me a little bit more as far as like what I was going to do after high school and everything. But I do remember times, you know, like when they were in the Missouri Valley and everything, I would always sit up somewhere in the nosebleed or something like that. Just catch a game or something like that. So it's cool. And I remember coming back to the little Shockers camp whenever we would have stuff like that. So it was always cool.
Well, there are a bunch of little kids that are watching you in particular and planning their future as a Shocker as well. So thanks for all of that.
Definitely.
Great game today. Thanks for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right,
Thanks.
Xavier Bell, our star of the game, presented by Kansas Star Casino.